Well, I got the idea of using the Chopin preludes, which I like a lot, and then I thought, well, how can I put all this music into 60 seconds? And then I came up with the idea of using only the endings of it.
It's a piece in a series of pieces which I've been working on, which has to deal with the speed of perception in the listener. And so I was looking at what kind of different types of material to do that.
If I would have used the beginnings, maybe it would have been the same, but many of them are not as clear as talking about tonality as the endings. And I think that's part of the piece, that you go through all these different tonalities, which makes it it's about ending, but it's also about going on, because it gives this idea of, there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one.
What I decided to do with this piece was to work with very distinct styles. And because then in 2 seconds, or a second and a half, or 3 seconds, you're able to pick up, a reggae beat, or rock, or some kind of theatrical gesture. And just at the moment when you realize what it is, it moves on. And so then you have this feeling of being on the edge of your seat, trying to catch up to the music.
I was working together with Juan de Graaf, and was really like a long process. I think that we met 4 times, but a long time, and we were just discussing. Should the point at the end of the piece be white or red, or maybe blue? And we were just trying and look at as he was changing the computer, the color and the shape and the speed. But every little thing was like a long process, because then you think that you can make it it looks very easy, but it is not.
Time is very relevant for everybody. You don't see it. It's like, in a way, it's like God or philosophy or some of those concepts that don't exist, really. But it's amazing because it's very physical.
The question is, where have to place the synchro with the image and sound? Here, or here, or here. And these things you have to decide with your ear.
Maybe it's a bit like a ruin. You see a ruin of a big castle, you can still imagine, there has been something big here, or there has been more, but now there's only the ruin.
A musician is very busy with that microscope universe, time. Now, I realized that concept up on a enormous scale to the microscopic universe instead, where things don't consist of, I was trying to say, triplets and stuff like that, small things, but it consists of 1 hour conference calls, or maybe 15 minutes coffee break, or 3 hours off-site meeting with a supplier or a customer, or stuff like that, or 3 weeks off in the summer. So it's really it's a totally different spectrum, but it's still very focused on time.
I think the composer is inevitably manipulating the audience, their perception of time, through their music. Every piece of music is about time and form, and every composer experiences that differently.
If you go to a concert and there's a piece played which lasts for 10 minutes, and you think it's a horrible piece, 10 minutes then is very long. If it's a wonderful piece, then the same 10 minutes seem to be very, very short.
And it's incredible how it works, the perception. Because even if it is like in milliseconds, you can see like it is not together. Or you can read it like a mistake. So it's like a game of perception.
Funny enough, for me, the shorter amount of time you have, the more ideas you put in there. And the longer amount of time, the less you use. And it's a funny thing, and I don't quite understand it, but intuitively I think that's the way it works. If you want to really stretch something out for a long amount of time and then to capture a single feeling, it takes a long time. And then you can do the other thing where you can just go compact, dense, and then pack it in. It's a burst of energy moment, and then it's over. And then you're like, wait, what was that? You know, and that's exciting.
You say 50 composers, and everyone is writing a piece of 1 minute, so it's like 1 hour. It's not true. I mean, could be like a really long hour, or could be a really short.
Every piece is the same length, but they're all going to feel differently, and they're going to feel like different lengths. And I think that's going to be largely a respect of how the composer is filling up that space, those 60 seconds, and what kind of ideas, what number of ideas, because you've got some that have just 1 or 2 ideas, and some that have 50, and then you have, and then the way that those are developed or not, and exposed, and I think that's going to be a fascinating facet to this project. How many different ways can we feel 1 minute?
It feels like a sports thing to make a piece which is exactly 1 minute, but then afterwards it's about performance, and there's no reason at all to sit in the audience with a stopwatch to check whether you play it exactly in 1 minute, because it has nothing to do with musicality.
Of course, seconds and hours is just our way. It's just our measure. Yeah, you could measure it in other entities as well, fine. But anyway, it is a handy way to describe it so people understand somewhat what you're talking about. But the point is, it's all there. It's never going to go away, and you're never going to be disappointed about it. There is only your own attitude towards time. That is all there is.
It would be a nice test to have people listening to all these pieces without telling them that they're all 1 minute pieces, and then ask them, how long is this piece?
But I think after you've listened to maybe 10 or 15 of them, you start to get a feel of how long a minute lasts, and then that will you'll get a feel for it, and I think that'll be a great skill to develop in listening to this project, to hear how the different composers have filled that time.
Because then I have like 3 or 4 phrases and 4 ideas in 1 minute. And maybe it's too much. Next time I will make like more radical.